Hey guys, Samuel7 here, and it's been a bit since we've done last YouTube video, but I've been focusing on getting some more upgrades for the stream. One thing I just wanted to say right away in the beginning of this one, Facecam is coming. I don't know when. Unfortunately, I've been just kind of waiting on that. I believe, let me check. Yeah, I still don't have tracking info on it. So that's pretty frustrating, but yeah, so that's coming hopefully in the next 2 weeks, and if longer than that, then I'm going to be pretty upset. But not the focus of this video. We're back with YouTube videos and keeping up with the streams as well. I'm on a little bit of a break this week for the streams. I wanted to do a bit of an extended break like I did last year. And I thought the best time to do it was now, and the reasons for that is with the COD tournaments and stuff, I've been like kind of readjusting the schedule. Like my stream schedule is a lot different than it used to be, and on top of that too, there's also the factor of the face cam coming in. So I figured that if I was going to take a break, I would want to do it before then, because when that comes in, that'll be fun. It'll probably reignite the fire to grind for a bit when I finally get that. So taking a little break now, just a few extra days off this week, and then getting back into I think like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and yeah, so the schedule's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be like Monday and Tuesdays off, probably from here on out, I guess. And whenever, I mean, things will probably change, so when they change, I'll update you. But that's probably what it'll be from now on. Is so I will be streaming on the weekends, pretty much every week. Which, as opposed to before, I wasn't really doing it at all for like the last year and a half or so. So it'll be a bit of a change. But anyways, focus of this video, CrossfireX. So to give some context, the original Crossfire game, free-to-play game for PC, was a game that I played a decent amount when I was really young. So I'm looking it up right now. On my old YouTube channel, my Mr. MJ Fan 101 alt channel, you can actually find some videos of me playing the old oh my god, that was loud. Of me playing the old Crossfire on that channel. I had a pretty decent amount of videos on it, and yeah, it was a free-to-play game that I enjoyed quite a bit because at the time I was very into Counter-Strike. I'm not as interested in it now, but at the time I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I was like playing on my brother's PC or my parents' PC. Honestly, don't remember. So I didn't have the money to like buy a PC, obviously. I don't know, it was like freaking 12 or something. Didn't have the money to buy a PC, or even if I could have the PC, didn't have the money to get the games. So free-to-play games were something that I would go to, and from what I've talked with other people, like friends of mine, this is a pretty common case for them as well, go to free-to-play games. And back in the day, there was three. AVA, Alliance of Valiant Arms, was a very popular free-to-play shooter. Combat Arms was a very popular one. I'm not even sure if it was the most popular one. I feel like it might have been. But yeah, Combat Arms was very popular. Some videos on my old channel of that as well, I believe. Actually, I don't even know if I made videos on Combat Arms, even though I played it a ton. Let me check. But yeah, Combat Arms was very popular. Then the third one, not ordering these in like popularity or anything, any particular order. Yeah, I don't have Combat Arms videos. That's crazy. Probably because it was like too much on my PC. But the other one was Crossfire. And like I was talking about before, the comparisons to Counter-Strike, like all the free-to-play shooters had their own niche, and you know, for the most part, they were all trying to copy like one of the AAA games or stuff from all the AAA games, a little bit here or there, and maybe some of the free-to-play games would focus a little more on trying to be like Counter-Strike. Maybe some of them would focus a little more on trying to be like COD. Maybe, and you'd have stuff in between and all kinds of combinations, whatever. So that's kind of how it was back in that, what was it, like 2008 to 2013 time period or so. That's how it was at that time. And the one that I enjoyed the most gameplay-wise was Crossfire. And as far as gameplay goes, very similar to Counter-Strike and very bare bones. It kind of reminds me of Fortnite in the sense that, and I think the developers have said this too, that pretty much any PC can run Crossfire. Like if you go look up any of the videos on my old YouTube channel of me playing Crossfire, yeah, very bare bones game. The graphics look like, for a game that I was playing in like 2010, the graphics look like a game that would have came out in 2001. I mean, it looks exactly like, when did the original Counter-Strike come out? Like 99. It looks exactly like Counter-Strike 1.6 to me. It looks very similar graphically. Okay, I was a little off. 2000. I think Half-Life was 99, and it was a mod from that. So, but anyways, 98. Damn it, I'm so close in my years. But yeah, point is, it looks like old Counter-Strike. It might even look a little bit worse than the first Counter-Strike, to be honest. But the benefit of that was that it could be played on pretty much every computer. Like, my computer was not anything special, but I was able to play Crossfire at the time with pretty much no issues. At least not that I can remember. I don't recall having any issues at all. And it was not a good PC. Trust me, it was not anything top of the line at the time. It was probably outdated at the time, even for like average PCs. So it wasn't anything special, and I could still run Crossfire just fine, perfect frame rate, never really had issues with it. So that was part of the reason why I enjoyed Crossfire the most. It was because my PC could run it, and anybody's PC could run it. Even if I had a friend that was in the same boat as me with not a great PC, I'd be like, yo, try Crossfire. They could try Combat Arms. It wouldn't necessarily work. They could try AVA. AVA definitely wouldn't work. AVA was the more high-end of those three free-to-play games that I've been mentioning, at least like graphically. It would definitely take a bit of a stronger system to run AVA. So that game and Combat Arms, there were some people that I could not play with, but Crossfire could pretty much play with anybody, and that was very nice. Another thing that I liked about it was I feel like the pay-to-win aspect wasn't that bad. I could be wrong. Again, it's been a while, but Combat Arms in particular, very, 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 very bad. I'm not exaggerating. It was awful as far as pay-to-win goes. It was the most pay-to-win game that I've ever played, and pay-to-win isn't even a phrase that really gets. It's crazy because it's not even really a phrase that gets thrown around anymore. You know what I mean? Like, if a game's pay to win at this point, unless it's like a fucking mobile game or something, whatever. If a shooter is pay to win, I should say, this day and age, it just dies, right? Like, the game's just not gonna. It's not gonna be popular. It's not gonna grow if you have like a pay to win shooter this day and age. But at the time, again, people, not much to work with. You could get away with it, and games like Combat Arms would get away with it, and would be very successful at that, and they would make a lot of money off of it. Crossfire, I believe, was more towards like the cosmetic route, and I believe there wasn't as much pay-to-win type stuff in it. Again, I could be wrong. It's been a while, but that's what I remember. Or even if it was, even if the guns maybe were a little bit better, it wasn't as bad as something like Combat Arms, where it was literally like you could be awful, but if you paid money for this good gun, you're going to be like one-shotting with a sniper, whereas people with the free-to-play version would have to... Like Combat Arms, I'll give you an example with Combat Arms. Like Combat Arms, you could pay money for like a paid sniper, and that paid sniper would like one-shot anywhere to the body, but the free-to-play sniper, you'd have to like hit a headshot. You'd have to like hit a headshot to one shot. So stuff like that is ridiculous. Crossfire, I feel like, wasn't as bad with that. So anyways, to move on with that, we're still giving context. I kind of wanted to have a nostalgia video here and go through, but it's 8 minutes of context. Let's talk about the new game. Maybe I'll do another video given the context. I have plenty of stories. I could go through stuff. It was a great time. But anyways, so that's all the context on Crossfire. Fun free-to-play FPS for a while. A lot of people still playing it. Very popular in the Asian market. Something I forgot to mention. Very, very, very popular in the Asian market, which is why it's interesting that Microsoft actually got the partnership with it with Xbox, right? Because you think that with its market, if Sony were to go after Crossfire, it'd work out really well for them with PlayStation, right? You figure that they would probably have a little more success there, but it's actually Microsoft going for Crossfire, and the studio themselves, what is it, like Smilegate, I think, that makes the game, are trying to maybe get some more exposure on the Western market, where there was, when I played it at the time, there's people playing it, but it was definitely way more populated with Asian servers and in that region. But now with CrossfireX, they're bringing it to console, and it's not the original Crossfire. It's like its own new game, and from what I'm aware of, it's not even on PC either. CrossfireX is X for Xbox, like it is the Xbox Crossfire game, and there's not going to be cross play with PC or anything. CrossfireX is just Xbox Crossfire is what it is. So when I first heard about it, I thought that it would maybe be like a sequel to Crossfire that they're releasing on PC and Xbox, but that is actually not the case. So that is very interesting to me. Is that the right play for the studio? I have no idea. But I'm very excited to have it. I think having like an Xbox exclusive free-to-play shooter that would be fun to play is a very good thing, because me and it's not just me, like a lot of my friends plus me across the board, like even people that I don't play with as consistently, I think have been a lot more bored with shooters, maybe like the last half a year, like since the start of 2020 maybe. I mean, for me it's been a while, to be honest. I don't know, it's been quite a while. And not just for me, but especially for me, I've just wanted something new with FPS, and we just haven't really had it. Like, you know, Valorant was a thing, and I was not really into that, so that was kind of chalked. And after that, it was just kind of like still just kind of waiting. Like that game, I was hoping that game would be something for me to get into. Wasn't really with it, and now I'm waiting for the next thing. And now a couple months later, we have this open beta for CrossfireX, and I got to try it, and it's interesting. So right off the bat, I'm gonna say, like, this isn't gonna be this. I don't think this is gonna blow up on Xbox or anything. I don't think this is going to be like the next greatest shooter or anything. But I had fun. Is it a great game mechanically? Like, is the console port perfect? No, it's not. That's actually the first thing that I would say about it. Is that I think that the controls could use a bit of tuning. Like, there were some times where with the aiming, it felt like it was hard for me to get my aim to go where I wanted it to go. Whereas, you know, when I play something like Call of Duty, when I play something like Halo, first-person shooter titles that have been on console forever and have been made very well for console, on those games I don't have that issue. On those games I feel like I can, you know, move where I want to move and get my aim where I want my aim to be, and I can just do that very comfortably. Whereas when it came to this beta, that was not the case. I was having issues with that. There were times where I was pressing like the right bumper, and it would take me like 2 or 3 presses for my nade to come out, and I checked my controller. My controller was not broken. I've had controller issues in the past, but this was not a case of the controller issue. It was just the game and the controls, and it was like that with the menus as well. Like, the controls definitely could have used a little bit of polishing. But on the bright side, if they do that, if they can actually work on this before launch and can actually polish the controls and get it feeling pretty good for console, because it's from what I tried, it's close. It's just inconsistent. Like, there were times where I thought it felt really good, actually, for the studio's first try at a console game. I thought it felt very good, but it was just a little bit inconsistent. You could tell that there was those times where it became painfully obvious that it was their first shot at a console game. So if they could work on that a little bit, that would be fantastic. I want to see them do that. I want to see them work on the controls, tighten them up a little bit. That'd be great. Going through other stuff, there's so much to talk about, bro. I'm gonna have to do a two-parter here. I'm gonna have to do a two-parter for sure. So I'm gonna talk about I guess I'm gonna talk about the guns here to close this one out, and I'm gonna have to do a two-parter on this one because I actually have more to talk about than I thought. So let's close it out with this. So the guns. They included a lot of guns in the beta. There was I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but it had to have been around like 10 weapons in the beta, which is pretty good for a beta. I was happy with that. I was surprised to see that, and the fact that they included so many in the beta, I think, is a good sign that they probably have a decent amount for the actual release, which is good. You're gonna want a good variety of weapons for a free-to-play game. And from all the weapons that I've tried, was it anything to write home about? You know what I mean? Was it gunplay as good as, like I was mentioning before, like stuff like COD, Halo, Battlefield, stuff like that? No, not necessarily. But for a free-to-play shooter, I thought that the guns felt fine. You know what I mean? It's not anything to write home about, but they were all pretty unique. They all had their own feel to them. Some of them were pretty cool sounding. I didn't mind the gun sounds. There were a few gun sounds that were definitely like, oh yeah, this is a free-to-play game. But for the most part, they weren't that bad. There was some the graphics are way better than the original Crossfire. There were some graphical upgrades that made the guns look really nice and very believable. And yeah, overall, I had a pretty fun time with the guns. Was the balance perfect? No, definitely not. There could definitely, with the guns in the beta, there could definitely be some balance adjustments. The Thompson felt insane. The Thompson felt just like way better than everything else. And then there were some guns, I forget the name of it. I think like the SG. The SG was really bad. And I think there was one other gun, like the Lewis gun, was also really bad. And then there was a bunch of stuff that was probably pretty well balanced in the middle. So the weapon balance isn't too far off. Just a few guns that need a little bit of love, a few guns, maybe like 1 or 2 guns that could use a little bit of pulling back, and the weapon balance, at least between the beta set of weapons, would be pretty good. So for a beta, the weapon balance isn't terrible. It isn't perfect, but it isn't terrible. Again, the guns don't feel like revolutionary, but for what it is, I like them and I had fun with them. And I'm interested to see what they do with the weapons and with the customization coming into the full release. And I'm going to stop this video here. I had a lot more to talk about with the beta than I expected, so I think I'm just going to do a two-parter on this one. I don't want the individual videos to be too long. We're already at 60 minutes here, so hope you guys enjoyed this one. And on this part or the other one, let me know what you thought about the Crossfire beta if you got to try it yourself. And yeah, look out for part 2 where I'm going to talk about everything else with it. This one was mostly context, but we're going to dive deep into it in the next one. So hope I see you there, and until next time.